Hey guys, this video is for all those students who have their CA final exam in January 2021 attempt. I hope your preparations are going well. I understand you are very much stressed. You are very much, you really want this exam to get over and you have been waiting for this since a long time. But it is very important that you manage your time very efficiently now and have a proper plan in place so as to manage your 16 days of exam, because no matter how much you have worked hard earlier, no matter for how long you have worked hard, no matter how many hours you have studied in a day, no matter how many classes you have taken, it all boils down to the fact that how you manage your 15-16 days of exams and how do you manage those 3 hours of paper. I personally understand that those 3 hours of your paper are very crucial, and the 1.5 day that you get to prepare for that exam is even more crucial, because anything that you fail to revise in those 1.5 days, you will not be able to recollect it in your exam, and all your previous efforts will be wasted, right? So there are few things that I want to share with you that you should have already done by now. If not, spend some time now and get it done before you get into your exam, because these are really important things which people do not really care of and they tend to regret after the exams are over. So the first thing that I want to share with you, I would be sharing 5 things. The first thing that I want to share with you is that you should have a proper APC analysis in place as to how will you go about revising your syllabus on the day before your exam, so that you ensure that you do not miss out any important topics and you complete all your revisions in a time efficient manner. If you have not prepared a timetable yet as to how will you what will you read after coming back from your first paper, what will you read in the next day, and will you read in the morning of your exam, sit down, spare half a day. It's definitely worth it. Try to have a schedule in place and also mention the time within which you have to complete it. And once you write down the time, ensure that you write it with a you have a scientific basis on why have you written that time. For example, if you are writing about SFM and you target to complete say bond valuation in 2 hours, you should definitely have a background to that. For example, you had completed it earlier in about 3 hours, so you targeted for 2 hours, which is fine. But you do not make unrealistic targets, like something which took you 3 hours will take you 30 minutes on the day before exam. It is not humanly possible, right? So on that note, have a plan in place so that you ensure that you complete your syllabus on the day before your exam. Second, keep all your materials together, all the pages, all the RTPs, mock test papers, any additional papers that you have taken printout of, and everything that you have, because there are a lot of materials and ultimately we end up losing materials or not finding them on the day before exam, right? So have them all in one place. So you should have a bundle for, say, if you're talking about costing, you should have a bunch of books which you'll take out on the day before your exam, and rest of the books will be in the shelf. The third point that you should have really taken care of by now is your sleep routine. Please ensure that you do not sleep between 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock. If possible, do not sleep, and also try to avoid sleepiness. So try to read those subjects which keeps you awake, like try to solve practical papers or write mock tests, and try to write down stuff so that you are completely awake during those times. And if possible, try to build a habit right now of sleeping in the evening from 5 o'clock or 5:30 to 7:30, because I personally had a problem that I was not able to sleep after coming back from my exam. So I used to waste a lot of time, because neither was I able to sleep nor was I able to study. So I used to feel very depressed on the evening of every exam, just because I never had a habit of sleeping after 5:30 in the evening. So if possible, try to build a habit now of sleeping in the evening so that you do not face any kind of problem during the exams. The fourth point that I want to share is all the materials that you have online. It could be MTPs, it could be RTPs. You should try to have a printout of them and keep it as a backup, because it may be possible that you may not get time to open your laptop and access extra materials during your preparations, because whatever you have in hand already is more than what you can cover, right? So it may happen that you may miss those concepts just because you do not get time to separately open your laptop and read them. So if there are less number of materials, get them printed out and keep it to yourself. It doesn't really matter. And also you have a backup so that if there is any problem, you do not need to rush back to the whatever IT centers and stuff. The last and very important point that people don't realize is that we solve mock test papers, we solve revision test papers, but we never really mark the questions which we have to do before the exam, right? So take a moment, if possible half a day, and go through the latest mock test paper of at least this attempt and the previous attempt, and mark all those questions that you would want yourself to see on the day before your exam, so that you can see it on the morning of your exam. Because there are occasions where revision test papers and mock test papers questions are do appear in the exam as it is, right? So you cannot afford to miss on them. It should not happen that in the exam hall you are trying to recollect what you had that you had seen this question in your mock test and you're not able to do it now. That would be very saddening. So please mark all the questions that you think you need to revise, and you don't need to solve the paper now. You just have to read the question, see the answers, and see whether you need to read it on the day before your exams or not. And try to keep the syllabus as concise as possible, because no matter how big it sounds, but 1.5 day is too less, and you have to be very systematic and smart about it. And on that note, guys, do not worry, be confident, be motivated, because you have to understand it all boils down to those 3 hours of the paper. No matter if, even if you have not studied it all till date, if you are able to do your best in those 1.5 days, maybe you get a rank. You never know, right? So be optimistic and stay motivated. All the best.